We begin tonight with a major development in a murder mystery dating back 3 decades. Mathematician Scott Johnson was found dead and naked at the bottom of cliffs near Manly. In 2020, police finally made an arrest. Now we can report that the accused murderer has changed his plea to guilty. Jamie McKinnell is live for us at the Supreme Court in Sydney. Jamie, Mr Johnson's brother was there. What did he say about this unexpected development?
Juanita, Steve Johnson says more than anything today is a relief. He's been spared the anguish of a trial, but there is still a long road to justice ahead. For many years, Mr Johnson's death was considered by police to be a suicide. But Steve Johnson says his faith in the system has been restored and, in his heart, he knows this is the man who killed his brother. 660 people caught COVID-19 as a result of this voyage of the Ruby Princess cruise ship that left from Sydney in March 2020. In a class action lawsuit, Carnival and Princess Cruise Lines were accused of breaches of Australian consumer law and also breaching their duty of care to the passengers on board. Federal Court Judge Justice Angus Stewart has today found Carnival was negligent. Dressed for the occasion. He may not be a KC or an SC, but most thought he was a QT. Oscar the Cavoodle arrived at the federal court with his owner, barrister Gina Edwards, for decision day in a defamation battle against Nine.
Justice has been done.
New South Wales Police will now march in Saturday night's Mardi Gras parade in Sydney. Jamie McKinnell joins us from Taylor Square. Jamie, it appears there's been a compromise.
Jeremy, the agreement is that New South Wales Police will take part, but they won't be wearing uniforms. There will also be a reduced number of participants in their group compared to what was originally planned, and they won't be using a float. Rather, they will simply march as a group with the police minister, and they'll be wearing T-shirts with a logo on them. Now, this is a reversal of the Mardi Gras Board's previous decision to withdraw its invitation for New South Wales Police to participate. But this has been an extremely contentious issue. Some in the LGBT community believe the community needs space to grieve the loss of Jessie Baird and Luke Davies. Well, the prosecutor said Chris Dawson was a man who was infatuated and besotted with the family's teenage babysitter, who was known in court as JC. The Crown case here was that his motive was his desire to have an unfettered relationship with that schoolgirl. Now, the court was also told that Lynette Dawson's disappearance in 1982 followed 4 separate plans that Mr Dawson devised to leave his wife, and the Crown prosecutor said when all of those plans failed, that was the point when he allegedly resorted to murder. At the end of the CCTV footage, there was a sudden loud thud, causing jurors to visibly flinch in their chairs. Rojas told the court that he was blinded by the headlights of oncoming traffic, but he made no mention of that during a police interview and told officers that he simply didn't see the scooter. When Camilleri spoke to the psychiatrists about a year after her mother's death, she changed her story and she admitted that she was the aggressor in the fight that night. She also told one of the psychiatrists that she was inspired to behead her mother by the violent horror movies that she was obsessed with and she repeatedly watched. One of the psychiatrists told the court that he believed she was living out a violent fantasy. Is AI's risk, in terms of the court's perspective, is it mostly around the admissibility of evidence, or are there other problems there?
AI, and particularly generative AI, raises a huge number of issues for the legal system as well as society more generally.
Bruce Lehrmann can be seen talking to Brittany Higgins and buying her several drinks. Justice Lee found that by the time they moved on to another bar, Ms Higgins had consumed 11 drinks. Around 1:30 a.m, Ms Higgins and Mr Lehrmann shared an Uber to Parliament House. Bruce Lehrmann told the court he needed to collect his keys. The judge described this as an elaborate fancy. Person 24 has been challenged quite a bit today under cross-examination about the evidence he gave, and he has insisted that it was a true account of this mission. In fact, he's actually added to his evidence from yesterday, and he's told the court that from his point of view, Ben Robert-Smith had no reason to be outside with this man, and he believed that this was an exhibition execution which Ben Robert-Smith wanted people to see.
So why is this case so
significant, Jamie?
Well, there are a couple of things going on here. It's one of the longest running defamation cases. It will certainly be one of the most expensive. And the case also revealed the internal culture of the elite SAS. There were some witnesses who gave evidence about this, and one of them in particular described it as a toxic culture where rumours were rife and seemed to expand tenfold whenever there was any hint of gossip or rumour. It's also significant because of how high the stakes are here.
Tonight, case dismissed. Ben Roberts-Smith loses his defamation suit. A civil court judge finds the Victoria Cross winner is a murderer and a bully.
Ben Roberts-Smith didn't attend court today to see the decision in person. In a statement, his employer, the Seven Network, said he remained on leave, will review the judgment with them, and a decision on his future will be made soon. His lawyers will consider an appeal in a case that's already estimated to cost $25 million. Jamie McKinnell, ABC News, Sydney.
And court reporter Jamie McKinnell is here with me. Jamie, what does all this mean now for Ben Roberts-Smith?
Juanita, it is a devastating loss. The veterans barrister previously described the consequences of this type of finding in the final days of the trial last year. He said it would effectively paint his client as someone guilty of murder and who is violent, permanently tarnishing his name. This was a civil case, which means it had a different standard of proof to criminal prosecutions, and there are no findings of criminality. But it does raise many questions, including around the fate of his Victoria Cross. What will now happen to him and to those soldiers who served with him on these missions? In a statement, the Defence Minister Richard Marles said the case was a civil defamation matter, the Commonwealth was not a party to it, and that it would be inappropriate to comment.